What is up, guys? Meg in the video, and today is another Diorama dissection. I have just seen the new episodes of the Halo TV show, and I thought this was the perfect time to review the Halo TV show sets. So we're going to start off today with the Renegade Banshee. It comes with two figures, which is Saurin 066, and then the figure which I believe is the Arbiter. I don't think it says specifically, but I believe it is the Arbiter, and then the Banshee. So yeah, let's get started and let's look at each of them individually. And just so you know, if you haven't seen one of these reviews before, it's not based on like character details or anything like that. My reviews are just about how good they are for a diorama. So let's start with the Arbiter, and I'm kind of mixed on the Elite design. I will say I like the energy sword a lot, it looks good, but the color I think is weird. Like I actually really enjoy the new Elite design. The helmet is just unique enough to kind of like, it looks like a Halo figure, but it's also not just like the standard Elite, so I'm glad to see something new. But I don't love the color. I just feel like it could be a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, because in the show I actually feel like it's a little bit darker and grittier. So yeah, the biggest issue I have as far as like making dioramas is that this is the Arbiter. So if you have dioramas, it's going to be, I try to be as lore accurate as possible. Obviously, sometimes I fail in that endeavor, but I like to try and be as accurate as possible. And with this, it's like, you can't have 4 Arbiters. You can't even have 2 Arbiters. It doesn't really make any sense. So, yeah, as far as dioramas go, I don't love this. But I will say, if you do want to have a diorama for the Halo TV show, this is a great thing to have. Which hopefully I'll be having some of those soon, so keep an eye on it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Elite in particular. Next is Saurin 066. And I will say that I was actually pleasantly surprised with how this figure came out. It has this like hood, or I guess it's more of a cape, or some sort of like jacket. It's a duster. That's what it is, a duster. And I think this can be used for some cool things. If you want to have like some Oni agents, maybe you army build these. But it's going to be weird having, this many Saurins. Even though I will say he looks good. They even have the number on him. The armor looks cool. So that I really have nothing bad to say. There's like details on the arm. Yeah, so the figure looks good. So I want to say that I have no complaints with that particular aspect. I also like the pistol because that is accurate to the show. I'm glad that they added that detail. But it's the same problem with the Arbiter that, like, if you have a, let's say you want to army build the Banshee, which I would say that the Banshee is an army builder set. It's kind of weird to have, like 4 Saurins. It doesn't really make any lore. It doesn't make any sense. But if you don't mind doing the pop and swap with the hands, which I don't like to do personally, you could, I guess, make like a team of secret agents if you wanted to. You would have to kind of maybe look at the chess piece and see if that would bother you too much. But yeah, there is some potential for it. But as far as like not changing him and just keeping him the same, there is some like there's a limiting factor to having him in dioramas. So yeah, again, the figure looks really good, but it's just not very good for dioramas, which is my main thing that I do. Now let's take a look at the star of the show, and that is the Renegade Banshee itself. We've seen so many Banshees. My favorite is the Aerial Assault 10th Anniversary Pack. I believe that's what this set is called, with the green cockpit or like carapace. But this is actually a really nice Banshee, and I was surprised because when I first saw the pictures, I didn't really notice a lot of the details, but it has some things that make it stand out. So for instance, these two little, I always think of them as like finger pieces, but they're not, obviously. They add like a nice little detail that make it unique. There's also this little back bit instead of just like a... sometimes they have used an energy sword in the past, and I thought that looked okay, but this looks a lot better in my opinion. It's weird, like it makes it look unique. There's also gray detailing right here. And then on the inside, which again, for dioramas, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. They have the general or the usual pad. But sometimes I've actually taken these out and used them for other things. So if you want to do that, that's good. If you want to arm build these especially. And there's just like nice detailing on it. It does some, like, let me get this. You can do this, which doesn't really look good. It kind of looks like a weird jumping fish or something. And so they're obviously like opposable. You can have it turning, you can have it doing all sorts of poses. But in general, I really like the Banshee. It looks good. I think it's pretty accurate to the show's Banshees, at least from considering what they looked like to my eye. But I think that it's a pretty nice little recreation, and it's not distinct enough to where you're like, oh, that's obviously not lore accurate or whatever. It looks like you could definitely put it in dioramas and people wouldn't be like, oh, that's bad, I don't like that. So yeah, I'm happy about that, and I'm definitely going to be getting I am going to be stuck with some Saurins and some Arbiters, but I'm definitely willing to do it to get another Banshee for some of the Halo TV series dioramas, because I do want to put those out. I don't know how the show's going to do, but I want to put it out, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But yeah, that's it for the Banshee, and now let's kind of do the close. So now that I've kind of put it all together and broken down each piece of the set for you, I want to talk about how I feel about it as a whole. So what I would say is that it is an amazing or a really, really good Banshee. I don't want to say amazing, that's a little too hyperbolic, but it is a good Banshee, and definitely a set that I would recommend, especially if you don't have a Banshee. If you can only get one, this is not a bad place to start. So I am probably going to be getting a few of these, but I have to take away from it just because I feel like this should be an army builder set, just because it's like a cheaper set. But there's also the fact that it has Saurin and the Arbiter in it, so it's like, yeah, it is a cheaper set, but you're also now going to end up with Saurin and the Arbiter, who you can't really have a bunch of if you choose to army build it. Or you can have them, but it's not really useful. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. So if it was just a Banshee, I would give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10, like 7.5 out of 10, just because it's a good Banshee. But because I focus on dioramas, so don't take this as me thinking the set is bad. But for dioramability of the set, I'm going to have to give it a 4. There's just not much you can do as far as like making large scale dioramas, which is what I like to do. So yeah, don't take this as me not liking the set. If you want to see like other people's opinions, definitely check out Demarcation Media. He will have a less diorama focused one, and so the rating will match like the value of the set, I suppose, better. But that is just what I think. And yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments, so please comment, and I'll hopefully be able to get back to all your comments. And yeah, let me know what you think of the Halo TV show. I actually think I'm going to do a video talking about it a little more. So yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.